Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm Wes Decker. It's great to have you along this week. Last week we were a little old school in the opening, and we're going back there again this week. In fact, to a high school in Des Moines, Iowa, which is turning the result of Justin Bieber's recent run afoul of the law into a recruiting tool for its girls track team. Ankeny Central High has used at least one of the Biebs' recent arrests to its advantage by printing his mugshot on posters strategically hung around the school that contained the following thought-provoking pitch. Justin Bieber never ran track. Now he's in jail. Coincidence? Don't believe it. Don't end up like Bieber. Run track. Ninth grade girls interested in varsity track and field meet Tuesday in room 412 after school. A far better option than turning on the TV in Port Kembla, Australia last Thursday. That's when, during a nationally televised demolition of the town's giant smokestack, viewers got quite an unexpected eyeful. Just as the massive chimney was being imploded, a man walked in front of the cameras while not wearing pants. He was gracious enough to use his hands to keep himself mostly covered, although he did turn around to give viewers a clean, or should I say clear, shot of his backside, for which this is no good. And I mean for nobody. Any toilet paper that rips when you're attempting to pull it off the roll shouldn't go near a holy cow. You can even see through it. If there's one thing that has to change immediately at the cable company, it's this. If you've seen the kickoff show for each of our last two seasons, you know I spend an inordinate amount of time in my favorite stall, and this just simply isn't going to work. Ahead on the show, my freshly washed and double sanitized hands greet South Hagerstown head boys coach Kevin Naylor and Williamsport head girls coach Kevin Murphy as they break down the playoff hoops brackets, plus the MDCC boys tourney championship game, county wrestling, and North Stars hockey. Stay tuned. It's not like I'm going anywhere anytime soon.
Behind every great child, there is a great foundation. Premier Martial Arts will empower your child and give them a premier foundation to success. Our instructors have the passion to teach classes designed to build premier skills. Your child will develop greater self-control, confidence, and concentration. Premier Martial Arts will take your child up the path of greatness. Call Premier Martial Arts today.
Boxes are good for a number of things, but not as your flooring store.
Excuse me, where can I find your ceramic tile expert?
Ceramic tile expert? You're looking at him.
But aren't you the...
Ceramic tile expert.
At Carpet Gallery, flooring isn't just one of the things we do, it's the only thing we do. And when they say free, we say, really? Here, you'll meet with flooring and ceramic tile experts with over 70 years of experience, and that's for real, and that's real value. Trust Carpet Gallery for all your flooring needs and think outside the box.
TV, high-speed internet, and phone with Antietam Cable, you can save up to $300 per year and enjoy the convenience of one monthly bill. Bundling your services adds up to the best value. Call Antietam Cable now.
Welcome back to the show. We continue now with boys basketball right off the top, and the draws are out. Coach Kevin Naylor of South Hagerstown joins me now. And Coach, let's run through 2A West and 1A West first, and then we'll get to 3A West, where your team resides. Beginning in 2A West, we got Williamsport as the number 2 seed there, and they'll open up in the Section 1 quarterfinals against 7th-seeded Mountain Ridge. Williamsport 19-3. You played them twice this season. Williamsport getting the better of you on both occasions. Second time around, a very tight basketball game. What do you like about that Williamsport team?
Well, I think they got a little balance there. I think they play well together. I think they have a little more freedom than they've had in the past. So it makes them a little more exciting ball team to watch. Not saying that there's more discipline. I just think that when Scott was coaching them, there was a more disciplined team. This year, he seems to give them a little more rein to let them, get to know themselves, so to speak. So, I mean, there's a little different styles there in the team, but this team he's got, it can be tricky. And I think they'll be going against Oakdale. It should be a fun matchup.
Oakdale, the number 1 seed there in that section, and Oakdale gets a first-round bye, and then plays the winner of Boonesboro or Middletown. Middletown a 12-10 team, Boonesboro at 8-13. Boonesboro comes into that game having won just one of its last 7. That came last Friday against FSK. The number 1 seed over on the other side of that section, Section 2, is Century at 19-3. But as you said, with Williamsport, a lot of balance there. And I think a little of that freedom this year, not only because the coaching reins are loosened up a little bit, but you got some great seniors there that you can trust. And Sterling Christie, who's averaging a double-double per game. Cameron Cross, who's been excellent all season long, very consistent. Riley Arnone, who pretty much directs that team. And then you got the sophomore, Michael Riley, who has been, sensational all year long. Those 4 guys averaging about 50 points per game between them. Over in 1A West, Section 2 there, Smithsburg gets the number 1 seed, and I think a lot of people look at that 12-10 record and they say, is that worthy of a number 1 seed? But you have to remember, Smithsburg's been playing a lot of teams above their classification all season long, and even though they struggled a bit down the stretch, they started the season 8-4, finish up 4-6, only 2-3 at home down the stretch for Smithsburg. They get this game at home, but Coach Mike Williams talked to me before the season, and he said, we're pointing for this right here, a region championship. So they seem to be on track coming off a big win against Middletown last time out.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Smithsburg. You never know. They can go from good to bad in the drop of a coin. But when they're good, they're good. So, he could possibly make a run out of it. I mean, it depends on how his boys come to play.
And I think he's got that senior leadership there, that senior core too, and those guys certainly want to get from the region potentially back to College Park once again. And Smithsburg this season, as I said, 12-10 overall. They get the winner of Brunswick and North Carroll in the next round. Smithsburg has already beaten Brunswick twice. They beat North Carroll during the regular season. And Clear Spring then waits later potentially in that draw, although for Clear Spring not easy at all as the 3 seed. They get 2nd seeded Manchester Valley, and if you're Smithsburg, you might even be looking ahead a little bit to Manchester Valley because Manchester Valley beat them twice during the regular season. And I know for Smithsburg, the last time they lost to those guys, it was kind of a devastating loss, and it sort of put them in the tailspin that they were in toward the end of the season, and hopefully got it righted with that win over Middletown. But Clear Spring, a team that's tough to get a gauge on, kind of a young team in some ways. They have some size. Guys kind of getting used to a new head coach there this season too. But Clear Spring, again, the 3 seed there, a potential matchup with Smithsburg and Clear Spring down the road. And in Section 1, Hancock, who has struggled all season long, just 1-17, coming in as the 3 seed. They've lost 9 in a row. They get 2nd seeded Fort Hill, a team that is 16-5 in a semifinal there. Allegheny, the number 1 seed in that section. Now, we go to 3A West, and you certainly know a little bit about the 2 teams who are there. First of all, North Hagerstown just played them on Monday night. They didn't get the win, but North Hagerstown, a very scrappy team. They've had ups and downs, more downs than ups, as I said during the course of the game last night, but they're a team you just can't count out.
Oh, yeah, no question. I mean, like you said, it's playoff time. And, playoff time is just like the inner city game. It's one and done. So you got to bring your best effort. If you don't do that, then you get the done part of that one. So, I look at them, and I think the draw they got could be very beneficial to them.
Yeah, I think you said to Coach Hartman before the game, if it's okay that I mention this, I'll trade you draws.
Oh, yeah.
Because he gets Thomas Johnson to start, a team that North lost to early in the year. Obviously, these 2 teams a little bit different at this point in time. Thomas Johnson has won 2 in a row, and 4 of their last 7 coming in, so they're a little bit hot. But I think what you're alluding to is what would potentially be up next. And for your team, South Hagerstown, after a first-round game against Linganore, then the number 1 seed Urbana is sitting there after that. And you faced Urbana earlier in the season. Your team was pretty hot at the time. It won 6 in a row, and then you lose to Urbana there. But this is extra motivation for your guys seeing them again.
Well, we traditionally have struggled with Urbana every year I've been there. So it's been like this big fence, this big wall that we just haven't been able to climb. And they're a good team. I mean, Coops, their coach, he's one of those guys who he's a fun guy, he's easy to talk to, but he gets his players ready to play. And I mean, there's a team that they have some football players with a few basketball players mixed in, but they run you through screens. They just do everything with a discipline that is hard to beat.
Well, you play Linganore first, a team that you saw, I think, first game of the year, put up 93 points against them. Obviously, your team is a little bit different right now than it was at that point. And when I talked to you before the year, you said, you know, what I have this year is some pot luck. So it's actually played out pretty well. Do you have a gauge on your team right now of where they are?
Well, you know, it's funny. We play Linganore, and if you look at the scoring, we're both pretty high as far as points we put up, but we're both way down at the bottom when it comes to defending. So, you know, when you look at that game, and, you know, quite honestly, we shouldn't be looking ahead to Urbana because anything can happen in this game because they got shooters. I mean, they can put the ball up. I think they hit like 10 threes on us in that game. So, you know, we're going to have to be aware of that, and we're going to have to be able to play defense. And when we met them the first time, we weren't really a good defensive team. I think we've gotten better in the last 6-7 games, but, you know, we're going to have to play really good defense to get by those guys. That's no joke.
Well, for your South Hagerstown team, you know, pretty good season when you didn't really know exactly what you had when the season began. I mean, you know, in comparison to last year, not as good from a record standpoint, but I think in making the most of a lot of guys developing as this season's come along. And this is still a very young basketball team.
Yeah, you know, we have a nice nucleus of guys that will be returning. The seniors that are leaving, you know, Brandon Jackson, he's a football player. Draquan Johnson, he'll be going. But the bulk of the guys will be returning. So, you know, what we'll have coming back with a good off-season workout program, we should be pretty good next year. But yeah, at the beginning of this year, I just didn't know what was going to happen. You know, I mean, it was kind of scary.
Well, 14 wins in a rebuilding type season isn't too bad, Coach. And best of luck here in the playoffs. And thanks for coming on today. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Wes.
I'll be back right after this. Williamsport girls coach Kevin Murphy joins me to talk the girls basketball bracket breakdown in just a moment.
Honey, I just got the mail. We got 6 new bills today.
We don't have enough money.
Mommy, will we still get to live in our house?
It may be time to consider bankruptcy. Call Bodie Law. Do it for yourself. Do it for your family.
Injured on the job? Been denied compensation? Need money for medical bills and lost wages? Know your rights. Insurance companies have lawyers, and so should you. Protect yourself. Call Bodie Law, your Hagerstown legal team, for help at 888-823-1255. It's what we do for you that counts.
Over 100 channels in stunning high definition, over 8,000 hours of video on-demand programming, and watch TV on your portable device with Antietam To Go. Get more from your TV. Call Antietam Cable today.
Antietam Cable is proud to bring you Through a Veteran's Eye, a show for veterans, families of veterans, and friends of veterans. This unique show focuses on local, state, and national programs that support veterans' health and welfare and helps to provide avenues for applying for veterans' benefits and where to go for help. Through a Veteran's Eye can be seen on HMTV6 and also on WCL TV 30, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. Simply put, it's our way of saying thanks to all of you as veterans for what you've done for this great nation. Welcome home. Welcome back to the show. We continue now with girls basketball and look at the brackets there. And joining me for that is Williamsport head coach Kevin Murphy in his first year there. We'll talk about your team in just a moment, but let's begin in 1A West. And there, I think in Section 2, a lot of people look at the records of those teams, a combined 23 and 59. You have a number 1 seed in Clear Spring who has just 7 wins to its credit, but you see a reason for all of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of youth in that section, and then if you go to the other section as well, there's some young teams. Clear Spring's probably got the majority of their team coming back next year. I think they had 1 or 2 seniors, only 1 started. Smithsburg started 2 freshmen, so they're extremely young. So I think the youth is why a lot of those teams had such poor seasons by record. But those teams are going to only get better. And I think if you look at the other section, you know, a team like Southern Garrett is going to be pretty tough to beat for any of those teams.
Yeah, and Clear Spring, as we say, gets that number 1 seed. They come in on a 3-game losing streak. Interestingly enough, you also mentioned Smithsburg, who is the 3 seed there. They both get first-round byes. Mm-hmm. As for Clear Spring, their last win came against Smithsburg. Mm-hmm. Smithsburg's only win of the season came against Clear Spring. So kind of some sort of synergy there in some way or another. But hey, it's the land of opportunity for those teams. A chance to get hot. You need to be healthy and you have to be hungry this time of year. You mentioned Section 1. Hancock from Washington County there is the 5th seed taking on Northern Garrett. That'll be a Saturday game. Over in 3A West in Section 1, team that everybody's been talking about now for years because certainly they've had the talent there, is South Hagerstown. They run the table in the regular season, 20-0. And of course, they've sort of been circling a date with Damascus on the calendar for a long, long time. But there are opponents before that. First up for South, either Urbana or Thomas Johnson, two teams who have been pretty formidable this season.
Yeah, they beat both of those teams early in the year. Urbana's a nice team. I just saw them play last week, and they can do some things against South that'll keep the game close. I think South will win if it does get to that matchup. But I thought South got the tougher draw than the 2 seed Frederick because they got to go through the Urbana TJ winner, and then they've got to get to Frederick. And what's interesting about the Frederick-South matchup, if it gets to that, both of those teams are so similar. They like to get up and down the floor, run in transition, play very good defense. It's going to be a really good matchup. And like you said, when they get to that, at the end of that, if they get to Damascus, Damascus has 2 things that give South trouble. They got some size. South's not real big. They're very athletic. And they also have some nice guards that can handle South's pressure. If you can handle South's pressure, then you're going to have a chance against them. But I'll tell you what, those South seniors really want to get a state championship, and I've talked to them and their coaching staff, and they're hungry for it.
Yeah, clearly their focus is on that and nothing less. Right. And interestingly enough, according to Max Preps, South Hagerstown ranked 11th in the state, but they're second in their classification. Frederick actually ranked above them, according to Max Preps. And the last time that South won a region title, got to the state Final Four, way back in 1995, the only time they've ever done it, as a matter of fact. North Hagerstown's done it since then. They were able to get there back in 2009. North this year, the 3 seed, and they certainly have a chance to advance out of that first game at the very least. 7-12 coming in, but hosting 4-16 Linganore. And North has been much better at home this season.
Yeah, North can be kind of an enigma. I've talked to their coach a few times, and she's like, I just want us to put a full game together. And when they have, they've been really dangerous. You know, the first time we played them, we beat them at their place. The second time, it was a tough game. They just beat Middletown about a week ago. Yeah. So North's one of those teams. They could easily beat Linganore in the first round. They play a 2-3 zone that's a tough matchup for some teams because it's very athletic and long, and they're very quick.
And they'll get the winner of Frederick and Tuscarora in the second round. The defending region champ is Damascus, as we said, with a record of 17-3 so far this season. Over in 2A West in Section 1, Boonesboro, the 6th seed there, coming in at 15-7, going to Oakdale to play a 13-8 team. Not exactly the best of draws there, I don't think, if you're looking at it from a Warriors perspective.
You know, if you look at 3A West and 2A West, they have to be two of the most difficult regions in the entire state. I mean, just look at the teams. And especially in 2A West, there's us we have 15 wins. Boonesboro has 15 wins. Yeah. Oakdale has 13 wins. And Walkersville has 19 wins. That's a tough first-round matchup between Boonesboro and Oakdale because both of those teams, I've played them both. They're very similar. They play extremely hard. You know, that's a toss-up game. But I know both those coaches, it's going to be probably a 38-36 game. It's going to be a tight game.
Yeah, Boonesboro started the season 10-1, 5-6 since. So they haven't played tremendously well down the stretch. That game is coming up on Saturday. The winner plays the 2-7 winner between Mountain Ridge and Catoctin in a section semifinal. Now, as for your team, you kind of get the early start on everybody beginning on Thursday. Williamsport, the 4 seed, 15-7 record coming in, hosting number 5 Middletown, a team with just 5 victories. One of those against your team, but that was very early in the season. So talk about how this has kind of come full circle from way back then to now, and you get this game at home versus having that first matchup at their place.
I just mentioned those 4 other teams, Oakdale, ourselves, Boonesboro, and Walkersville. Didn't mention Middletown. Oh, they went to the state championship game last year, and we have them in the first round. Tough region. And the thing I think that'll help us is definitely being home. Middletown's got the tradition on their side. I think the one thing that does probably help us besides the home court is that our kids know that they beat us last time and how we've gotten to this point. And we started 0-3. We've won 15 of our last 19 games, and as a group, we've really come together. And we had a big loss in Carly Robinson earlier this year, but our kids have just bonded together, and I'm excited for the opportunity tomorrow to play them.
Yeah, the Carly Robinson injury big because she was one of those players that you just don't have another one of and brings experience and everything else. Since then, though, the team's really kind of rallied around that, winning 6 of the last 8, 8-3 at home. What's contributed to the success of this team? Now, you're a first-year head coach there. Right. You told me before the year began, hey, we'll be better by the end of the season. Did you think you would be this good from a record standpoint?
No, from a record standpoint, there's no way you could have told me we'd be 15-7 at this point. We've won a lot of road games, more road games than I thought. We had more road games on our schedule than home games. And losing a kid like Carla, like you said, she's a great kid. Every one of her teammates love her. She's a great kid on the court, off the court, very good leader. That worried me a lot. But the reason, you asked the reason why, I think that I've preached team so much this year to them. We have one kid in Kate Wade that's averaging more than 12 points a game, and the rest of them are like 7 points and under. If that doesn't tell you that it's a team atmosphere and we're doing it as a group, it could be Sydney Hawkinsmith one night, it could be Olivia Coleman the next, it could be Aaron Palmer the next. It just changes every night, and it's been a really joy to watch them kind of grow up as the year's going on.
What are you excited to find out come Thursday about this team? Because now the slate's wiped clean, and here you go. I mean, it's one and done from here on out.
Well, no matter what, I'm going to tell the kids, I think sometimes they can get so hyped up by the moment, and I've got to try to keep them relaxed and understand that, we got a basketball game to play. It's going to be a big crowd. The boys play before us. So I'm just going to try to get them relaxed and have a little fun with it. And win or lose, we've had a great season. I don't want them to put so much pressure on themselves to win at home against Middletown. I think if we play free and easy, get a good start in the game, I just want them to understand that it's a playoff game, but it's just another game. Relax a little bit.
And should you win that game, then the number one seed Walkersville would wait next, and we talked about them a little bit. A 19-3 record this season. The last time that Williamsport won a state championship, the last team to do it in Washington County on the girls' side back in 1992. Coach, been a tremendous season so far. Wish you the best of luck on Thursday and in the playoffs ahead.
Thanks, Wes.
I'll be back right after this. Got a little more basketball to talk about, plus wrestling and North Stars hockey in just a moment.
I bought a dish and now I'm really mad. It wouldn't work. It's really bad.
No high-speed internet.
This thing has got to go. We signed a contract. Oh no! And if it rains or snows,
the screen goes black.
I want my cable back. So if you buy a dish, then you will wish you had your cable back.
Winter is here, and despite the weather, it's still a great time for helping others. Driving, and just plain wearing shorts, tank tops, and sneakers. It's high school basketball season, and Antietam Cable proudly brings you coverage of county matchups throughout January and February. Watch the Hagerstown Hoops Showdown between the North and South boys Thursday at 5 p.m., Friday at 9 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday at noon. And keep up with the entire high school winter sports season each Thursday through Sunday, exclusively on WCL-TV Channel 30.
Always on the go, take your TV with you. Watch TV shows from the most popular networks on your portable device with Antietam To Go, available free to television subscribers. Antietam Cable, we bring the world to your home.
Welcome back to the show. A little more basketball now in front of a packed house at Grace Academy on Saturday night. The Mason-Dixon Christian Conference's two top teams during the regular season put long winning streaks on the line against each other with the conference tournament title at stake. Heritage Academy came in winners of 9 in a row, while regular season champ Broad Fording Christian entered with 15 straight W's to its credit. As Heritage head coach Mike Kidd knows, basketball is a game of runs, and unfortunately for Kidd and his Eagles, this game was going to skew in the direction of Broad Fording runs. Heritage led 15-13 with 2:44 left in the second quarter when the Lions authored their first key run of the game, fueled by a trio of three-pointers. Ernest Pizarris started it. Isaiah Daniels, who scored 8 points in the period, continued it, and Domas Sakikas capped it in all a 15-7 spurt that sent the teams to the half with BCA in front 28-22. Heritage pulled to within 28-27, 2:09 into the third, but the Lions roared back to a comfortable working margin on the strength of 5 straight points of their own and 14 of the quarter's final 17, with Monty Anderson and Daniels dialing long distance to open a 42-29 advantage with 8 minutes remaining. Anderson just kept it up in the fourth, and Broad Fording wore down the Eagles, outscoring them 21-8 in the frame to defeat them for the third time this season 63-37, And the third time meant the MDCC tourney crown for head coach Bernie Klutz's Lions, who ran their record to 23-8 overall. Tournament MVP Anderson cut down the net after torching it for a game-high 21 as BCA now prepares for a trip to Erie, PA for the National Christian Schools Athletic Association tourney, where the Lions are the defending champs. Heritage, meantime, now 18-5, will next play in the Maryland Christian Schools tournament. The Eagles made it to the semifinals there last year before bowing out. In wrestling, the 24th annual county tournament was expected to be a North Hagerstown Williamsport showdown, but then the championship finals were also expected to start at 3 o'clock. I learned that some things just don't go down like clockwork. The final round and the Hubs got an early start at 2 o'clock as it turned out. North, wrestling in the Central Time Zone, was in a zone of its own from start to finish. Hub wrestlers won titles in 9 of the 14 weight classes and racked up the most points ever scored by a team in tournament history. North's 260.5 was 47.5 more than runner-up Williamsport and 141.5 better than third-place Smithsburg. Among the highlights, Hunter Faith gained some personal retribution by emerging victorious in his 132-pound bout against Boonesboro's Dalton Hawkins. Faith had lost in the same gym on the very same mat at Hub Cup to Hawkins, but the North Junior turned the tables and prevailed by pinfall this time, 2 minutes and 1 second into the second period. Teammate Brendan Colbert just kept on keeping on, competing in the 145-pound weight class on Saturday. The undefeated Colbert continued his winning ways, thus becoming the 13th wrestler to ever win 4 county titles, with a second period pin of Williamsport's St. John Shoup, victory number 143 for Colbert, adding to his all-time county record. North's J.D. McCoy became one of 7 new Hub County champs. McCoy imposed his will throughout in his bout at 182 against Williamsport's Austin Golden. The North senior finished off Golden to score a 19-3 tech fall and remained just once beaten for the season. While McCoy was a first-time winner in the tourney, earlier at 138, 2 wrestlers looking to add to their previous title victories squared off. The race to 3 was on between North's Gene Balsita and Williamsport's Brian Davis, a race that went right down to the wire where Davis beat the buzzer with a reversal that beat Balsita 5-3, making Davis, along with fellow Wildcat Lasher Urciolo at 220, one of just 3 wrestlers to prevail over North opponents in the championship finals. The other was the only guy who wasn't representing North or Williamsport to leave Hub Arena with a county championship. Bryce Scott of Smithsburg was that guy. The Leopard sophomore scored a pinfall on Ray Montez 4 minutes and 51 seconds in to capture the 195-pound title. So with the county tournament decided, the region meets lie ahead. Along with South, North Hagerstown, the runners-up by 1 point to Damascus, and a heartbreaking finish at last Wednesday's state dual meet championships, will be in action at the 4A 3A North region meet Friday and Saturday at Milford Mill. Williamsport plays host to the 2A 1A West region championships that include Boonesboro and Smithsburg Friday and Saturday. It's all about qualifying for states this weekend. Speaking of states, in hockey, the Washington County North Stars are preparing to play for the 1A state title. The North Stars scored a dramatic 3-2 victory over Carroll County in last Tuesday's North Region final before disposing of Bowie in a state semi Monday night, 9-1. Washington County will face undefeated Annapolis Old Mill, a 4-1 winner over Montgomery Blair in their semifinal. The puck drops for the state championship Friday afternoon at 5 at the Gardens Ice House in Laurel. So the postseason pandemonium is about to reach a fever pitch, and we're on it. The winter sports season's crunch time is here, and so are we. Basketball, wrestling, and hockey ratchet it up, and we do too with the video and the stories you've come to expect, and we're all about meeting and exceeding expectations. Thanks for watching this week, and I expect to see you next time on The Inside.
Hey, your sisters and your brothers, your haters and your lovers, you gotta get up in the streets.